questions, just got any questions, just pop them in there, and we'll address all of those for you later on.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, so yeah, thank you for the introduction. As it says there on the screen, I am the Director of Learning with ICB, which means I look after what goes on within the syllabus, making sure that the syllabus is relevant and remains relevant. And I also look after the exams, making sure that when we pass somebody, when they meet the passing standards, then they actually are able to do what the syllabus said they would be able to do. So if you let me run through these slides, I'm going to explain a little bit about what the syllabus does. It is not just a simple document that can be filed away for good. It says a lot. There is a very, very tight link to the assessment of people through the syllabus, and then we'll look at fellowship membership of the institute. So why do we have a qualification? Why does anyone have a qualification? When people are successful in our exams, then they take an ICB badge with them, MICB, Membership of the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers. And that badge says that I am qualified to deliver what we call bookkeeping services to the client. The badge coming from ICB says to the market, so to the people who are your clients or your employers, is to say that the Institute has assessed people against competencies that are described in the syllabus, and they have met the minimum standard. So ICB is happy and confident to put their badge and their reputation behind people who carry that qualification. So we start seeing there's a cycle or a circle that's in there. We need to maintain a reputation that the market will take our word for it, if you like, that members are good at doing the job. So my job in running exams is to make sure those exams actually do what, or they indicate what you're capable of when you go out to do that job and when you speak to clients or to employers. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably at the point where you're choosing between taking an ICB route or taking another route, because there are, of course, lots of different qualifications to do with bookkeeping, accounting, finance around the UK. So what's unique about studying ICB? First of all, we don't look for work experience as a necessity to gain membership. A lot of the other institutes and associations, they do that. You know, you'll be a member because you passed the exam and you've got somebody senior, a qualified accountant or someone at work that will sign off and say, actually, they can do the skills in the workplace. So we've got to try and condense everything into one. We've got to make our assessment workplace relevant. We don't assume, I'm not going to say what most don't do or don't do. We don't make an assumption that an ICB student has got a manager looking over their shoulder and helping them and saying, you know, when you're doing this at work, it's maybe slightly different to what you cover in your books. So, you know, I know in different companies and different employers will have different terminology, all for the same thing. We don't do that. So we've got students who we kind of assume are motivating themselves and working their own way through this qualification. Everything in the main qualification is based on the UK market. That is where we have operations in other markets, but our core qualification is UK based. So we don't base our accounting, for instance, we don't base it on international financial reporting standards, which a lot of the qualifications do, and that it makes a difference in terms of the work that people are doing. It prepares people more directly to go out to the small and medium-sized businesses in the UK who are not required to file accounts under international financial reporting standards. So that tends to be the sort of people that we have coming through our qualification, and roughly it's where they're heading towards as a UK-based career. There's always opportunities to transfer and to change your qualification or learn more through CPD later, but this webinar is not talking about the CPD possibilities as such. So my job in overseeing exams is to make sure that they do what I've been talking about. They let you stand alone and say to the world, I am able to do the jobs that are described in the syllabus. So we have a lot of tasks that are scenario based. So it's not just knowledge, it's here is someone who has transactions, has a small business, has been doing some jobs. Can you sort out their transactions for them and make sense of what all the transactions mean? So it's based on scenarios. We allow open book examination because if you're working, it's absolutely acceptable and natural that if you have a slight doubt in your mind as to, I don't know, something to do with is a type of expenditure subject to VAT, then you just quickly Google search and find the government, the HMRC website and say, oh yes, it is subject to VAT. There's no shame in that. So we allow open book because it simulates the workplace. I suppose what's perceived as a downside on that is the passing standards. A lot of qualifications will say you'll pass if you achieve 50% of the marks. Now, if you do a job for a client and you get 50% of it right, that just isn't good enough. So with the fact that it's open book, there's the fact that it's realistic scenario, there's no trick questions set or anything like that, then we expect people to do very well in those tasks. And we generally set a passing standard to be 85% of the marks. We make allowances because, of course, people can make mistakes under the pressure of exams. I know all about that. So so that's the bit. When you're comparing qualifications, you will see that 85 versus 50. Please don't be alarmed by that, because when you're given the support of an organization like Training Link, well, I'm sure that Gary and Stephen will talk more about the passing rates, but they are very, very high pass rates. So somebody that follows a Training Link course with the support from Training Link will achieve our passing standard and generally exceed it very, very comfortably. So our qualification is broken, our core qualification is broken into two levels. One is to do broadly with making sure that transactions are properly recorded. Everything that a business or an individual does involving transactions, each transaction has to be classified properly. Are you spending that money because you need to do something today, or are you spending that money because you're investing in something that will deliver income over 3, 4, 5 years? They're different classifications. Yeah, when you've got income coming to your bank account, when you've got cash coming in, is it because you have sold something by way of your normal service? So, for instance, if you're a painter and decorator, have you just painted somebody's front room and they're paying you for it? Or did you sell your van? They're different, it's a different nature of transaction. So level 2, and it's more than just those 2 examples. We wouldn't have 2 exams just for those 2 questions. But level 2 is all about understanding how costs and income can be classified, making sure that the transactions are recorded in the correct place, and then you can summarize them with what we call a trial balance well, it checks that everything has been put into a correct place. Almost all businesses, not all businesses, but a lot of businesses now use commercial software to record those transactions. So you would see a client's invoices and expense receipts, and you would be putting them into a software package. So our exams, simulating the real world, assess whether you can actually use a software package to do this bookkeeping. All right, so it's not all filling in, columns on a pad of paper or anything like that. When you've proved to be competent at this level with 3 exams, A1 and A2 are shorter formed questions, A3 is a scenario task. When you've proved competent at those, then you are invited to apply for associate membership of the Institute. And you can apply for work as an assistant accountant, doing basic bookkeeping. Level 3 takes things a little bit further, saying that having recorded the transactions now, can you put the summary of the transactions into final accounts? So final accounts come in a format that is recognized by, well, not by everyone, but by lots of accountants and by the tax authorities and so on. So can you take all those transactions and present them in 2 or 3 statements that say, how much income did you have and how much did you spend, a profit and loss account? What have you invested in? What have you got and what do you owe? That's the balance sheet. And how has your cash changed over the year? Cash flow statement. All right. So that's a development, and there's more knowledge required. There's more scenarios that can be applied for that. And there's different types of client that you might be doing that work for. The sole trader, so I mentioned the painter and decorator with his own van, that's very commonly a sole trader. Sometimes you have people that go into business together and they set up the business as a partnership with an agreement that they will share the profits equally, so forth and so on. It's a different form of reporting for partnerships. Not-for-profit organizations, a lot of ICB members look after the books of small charities, churches, and so on. Again, there are slightly different requirements in how final accounts are prepared for those organizations. And then for other reasons, perhaps it's to do with the security of the business. Perhaps it's for tax reasons. The same business as a self-employed sole trader, it might be set up as a limited company. And again, there are different rules, regulations, presentations in there. So if you've gone through those 4 topic areas, or those 4 client areas, each of them has a separate exam, M4, M5, M6, M7. And then that's you broadly prepared for the place of work. We have a final exam, which is taken under more recognizable exam conditions, as in you are not allowed to do bits of background research and so on. It's sort of a general exam across everything that you've covered so far. It doesn't use the spreadsheet, not spreadsheet, shouldn't say that, the software package, but it is a general test of competence, awareness, knowledge, and skills. As I say, taken under recognizable exam conditions as for 2022, in that you don't have to go to an exam hall. You can take it at home or in an office or other place of work. We invigilate it using technology such as the webcam, and we use mobile phones or smartphones or tablets to be our eyes and ears in the room while you take the exam. But once you've done that, then that's you convinced us that you have all the skills and the competences that are described in the syllabus, and therefore we are happy to invite you to full membership. And that then leads you on to, and I won't go into this part of it, but that leads you to be able to apply for a practicing license so you can set up your own business as a bookkeeper. Now, that's what I've talked about there is the core skills and competence of bookkeeping. There are other certificates that we certify people for. Of course, you certify people for certificates, and that's where the word certificate comes from. But and these reflect skills and tasks that clients have asked ICB members to do for them. One of them is to look after the payroll. So for businesses that employ any number of staff, payroll is an additional skill. Not every member does the payroll management certificate, but plenty do, and they find that then they can provide a better all-round service to their clients. We have some advanced certificates, again, optional, and if your client base starts to ask for these skills, then you choose to take them. Self-assessment tax returns, a lot of people very busy this month completing self-assessment tax returns for their clients. So we cover the type of content that 99% of members' clients are asking for in our SAT certificate. It's a very popular certificate. The next two, the financial statements and the corporation tax, are to do with limited companies. Financial statements goes to the point of actually signing off and filing a full set of financial statements with Companies House. Corporation tax is a natural follow-on for that. Having summarized the business's financial statements, how much tax do they owe? So it's to do with calculation of tax. We're not tax advisors as such. We won't be advising people to put their set up their businesses in Gibraltar and accidentally earn £27 million or whatever it is. But we're saying if you have done that, this is the tax that you owe. Business Insight is slightly different. It's not something that clients ask for, but it's something that you can provide. It's understanding the numbers that appear in the financial statements and the accounts, and being able to help decision-making, planning, controlling the organization so that money isn't getting wasted, and so on. It's a management accounting discipline. But yeah, understanding and providing insight, because most clients, they're just happy to receive a set of accounts and they won't question because they don't understand. You're the expert. They don't understand that. If, as a member, you complete 3 or more of these advanced certificates, and you have been a member for 2 years, at least 2 years, then you are eligible to apply for fellowship of the Institute. It's advanced status that recognizes the additional learning and the additional services that you're in a position to offer. So that is our qualification plus the extra certificates. I will hand the screen back.
Thank you, Peter.
I don't know if there are any questions that popped up during that.
There's some interesting questions, but I think we might come back to those a little bit later, because there's one in particular that caught my attention, which I thought would be a really good question for all of you. So we're just going to get into our section of the presentation now. So who are Training Link? So we've been around for 27 years now. So it was 1996, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're established in 1996. And we're subject area specialists. So we just focus on accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll. And this is all we do. And we think that this niche approach means we've got like a laser-like focus on creating materials and delivering support that's of the very highest quality. So it's a concentrated focus that I think gives us a huge advantage over any of the similar training providers out there, and that is control over quality. We've got 100% control over all of our learning materials. We don't buy books from one supplier, buy videos from another, or anything like that. All of the materials we put out there for our ICB qualifications and materials that we've developed in-house. Our own tutors have put it all together. Our books, tests, the additional resources, they all work together to offer a seamless, cohesive learning experience. Now, our thoughts on that, the reason I put the word cohesive in there is because, to my view, how can you have a learning experience where, all the materials are working together if you've been buying them in from different suppliers?
No, it becomes a patch-up.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'd like to add to this when we start talking about additional resources, that traditionally, and when I first started 20 odd years ago, and even up to only probably 12, 13 years ago, distance learning was delivered generally by, you would receive a book in the post and you would receive a contact emailed, well, it wouldn't have been an email address in those days, it was you've had some prepaid envelopes to send your assignments in. And then you would also have maybe a contact number or an email for a tutor. That was defined as a course. 90% of colleges and training providers out there still do things that way. It doesn't really work. Well, it does work, but in quite a small way. We actually fell onto, and as it turns out, it's the same platform that the ICB themselves use. We wanted something where students could get in there instantly. They could take a test or an assignment. They could see a video. They've got all of these resources in one place. So we got rid of the postman. Now you can, and you don't even have to wait for a tutor to mark your assignments, because we've created the tests in the same way that ICB and lots of other awarding bodies have created their exams. You do an exam and you know straight away whether you passed it or failed it. If you lost any marks, you can see exactly where you lost your marks. And where we're concerned, we will actually give you some feedback on those areas that you may want to revise so you can take the test again. Built into that, obviously, is your tutor, because they get to know every time you take a test and they can see how you're progressing, and you can contact them, obviously, if you have questions, but they will actually feed back to you on the areas they feel you may need a little extra work. So this is where the seamless and cohesive learning experience comes in. It isn't something that we borrowed from somewhere else, because we created all of our content in there in the same way that ICB and other awarding bodies create their content. But what you do get here is you're using a platform and a style of question that you will face in your live exams. So by the time you come to an exam, you're not afraid of anything. You're already used to this system, and it helps enormously. Or, we've got mock exams, tutor feedback. ICB also have additional mock exams that you can use if you want extra practice, but it's all using the same platform. This is what Stephen was saying, that it's this ownership over this quality, that if anything is a slightly thing wrong or not working right, we can go in there and change it, rather than having to phone someone up and say, hey, there's something wrong with your system, can you fix it? Yeah. And then 6 weeks later, they think about it. So yeah, I'll let Stephen carry on.
So our courses are designed to give you the best possible chance of gaining your qualification, but it's not just about getting you through exams, as vital as that obviously is. all of the approach that we've always taken is we're trying to make sure that you're ready to do the job. And that means a lot of repetition. When we ask for student feedback, one of the things that we hear regularly is the number of exercises, because it's designed to make sure that you would practice by doing. It's not just about theoretical knowledge. It's about making sure that you are doing, you're constantly doing it and drilling that knowledge into your head, so you're ready to start your own bookkeeping practice. And Trainlink's got a very proud history of helping many, many students become freelance bookkeepers. We've won over 20 awards, including ICB's Large Training Provider of the Year for 10 years in a row, ICB Tutor of the Year 4 times, most recently 2022. And we've won awards like PQ Magazine's Online College of the Year. Our students have won Distance Learning Student of the Year, PQ of the Year. And at last year's award, Michelle Baker, one of our fantastic tutors, won the Editor Special Award.
And even practicing members have won awards as well. Our ex-students have gone through into practice, been shortlisted, and actually won awards for best new practice.
They have, and also on a point that I made earlier on, there, ICB Tutor of the Year 4 times. There are actually more Tutor of the Year winners in the building, because basically other training providers must hate you.
Yeah, these are tutors that have worked elsewhere over the years and won awards where they've gone. And we've always known of these people. And whenever we've advertised, fortunately for us, they applied for the job. So we've actually got 6 award-winning tutors all working merrily away in here, looking after our students. So you're in good hands when you consider how many tutors there are out there. And even when you start looking then at Student of the Year, to have students shortlisted, let alone winning, they are competing against thousands of students all across the country. And it is quite an amazing achievement. And we're extremely proud of that we've managed to get enough of our students through to the sort of level where they get shortlisted for one of these awards. As I say, let alone winning it.
We get to hear some fantastic stories when it comes to the time when we're writing the award.
It's great to hear from these people. They've been successful. They are now setting up their practice. And when we have the events, we have the ICB Summit every year. And it's great to bump into these people and catch up with them and say, how are you getting on now? And they're always just buzzing that, oh, yeah, I've got so many clients now. I've even got someone working for me now. But they can tailor it, the practice, to whatever size they want. If they just want to do a little bit each month and earn an extra few £100, that's great. Or they can build their practice to employing 20, 30, 40 other bookkeepers. So you can tailor this to whatever you want. If you just want something part-time, yeah, sure. You can charge £20, £30 an hour working part-time there. You can go on where you start doing some of the more advanced certificates that Peter was talking about. Then you start attracting bigger clients. So you
also helping retain existing ones with the level 4 things
more services. So if you go to a bookkeeper that can do all of it for you, even down to your corporation tax, you would expect to pay them more. If they're just doing bookkeeping, you expect a certain fee. But with ICB bookkeepers, they're doing year-end accounts and they're doing corporation tax for their clients. Those clients will pay more money for that type of service. So it's completely tailorable, that once you get qualified at level 3, it's what you want to add to it at that point. What do you want from this qualification? Yeah.
So why study online? Well, I think that the main benefit is that you're in charge of the speed of your own progression, because it's the flexibility. If you need to fast track your studies, you can. If you prefer to study at weekends, that's fine. You can't stick to the same schedule days, that's okay too. It's that flexibility that so many of our students absolutely love.
Yeah, our system will mark your assignments at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And it won't complain to us about it either, which is wonderful.
It means you can carry on then till 4 o'clock in the morning. Move on to the next part.
So your study experience includes Trainlink's printed study manuals with lessons and examples, practical hands-on activities to ensure you got knowledge and skills, which goes back to the point that I mentioned earlier on. This is about making sure the repetition to make sure that you can really do the job. Award-winning tutor support from full-time tutors by email and phone. There are no part-time tutors working for Trainlink. Online resources to help fast-track your studies. So that includes PDFs of your course books, because although, all of our students praise the standards of the physical printed books, and they love those. But if you haven't got them with you, let's say you're at work or something like that, and on a lunch hour you want to access those resources, they're in our online learning portfolio. Which and the great thing about that is, we went through quite a number of different online learning platforms to take a look at them and evaluate them. And in the end, we wanted something that was designed specifically to deliver accounting and bookkeeping related tests and questions.
To mark to actually give the answer, the feedback, but mark those tests and assignments.
So we actually use the same platform that ICB uses. So you'd be using that throughout your studies with Training Link. I know there are some people that might offer some some mock exams as well, but no, we use Rogo, and you'll be using that throughout your entire study experience of studying with us. So PDFs of your course books, assignments, tests, mock exams, and also videos.
We are pleased to unveil our collection of videos, and more of them are being added to our online learning platform. Our team of writers and tutors have spent much of this year scripting, shooting and animating a suite of videos to further enhance our study material. So if you want some extra clarification of a topic or additional examples when working through your books, just log into our online learning system and watch Training Link's tutors take you through it.
Thank you very much, Lauren. So your study experience, so the videos, just very, very briefly touch on the videos. That's something that we continue to work on. I think, how many did we shoot yesterday? 2 or 3? Another 2 or 3?
Yeah.
So we've got, I think probably dozens in there at this stage. We've got quite a lot of videos in there, and we continue to build those up.
Yeah, just want to work on the topics where people generally need a little bit more help to understand. Sometimes that face-to-face thing with an example on screen, it just gets that understanding over the line.
I think it comes back again to the point made earlier about us being in control of the learning materials. So as soon as we get feedback, because as soon as we get exam results coming in, those results are circulated to everybody in Training Link,
Analysed,
and they're analysed. We take a look at, are there any obvious issues or obvious exams where we're thinking that pass rate could be higher? And that informs that, and obviously the actual, the more manual kind of feedback that we get from students informs the resources, the additional resources that we create, because it never stops. That's the benefit of having full-time tutors working here, is that they're continually working on additional resources or tweaking examples in textbooks and things like that. So yeah, you get 24/7 assignment marking with instant results, personal tutor feedback, student services department, which is open 7 days a week, and everything you need is included. There are no add-ons needed, no add-on reference material fees, no add-on resource fees, and unlike many training providers, the exam fees are included.
Yeah. We are looking at an option where people can actually purchase the course and then pay for the exams as they want to go. But for many, many years, we've always included exam fees for a few reasons. That a lot of people want to purchase on a monthly payment scheme, so they're paying for their exams monthly. And the other reason being that exam fees do actually go up from time to time. This is just the cost of living. So you're actually securing the cost, the price of your exam whilst doing that at the same time. Yeah. But we are going to open it up to allow people to say, okay, I'll pay for my exams as I go. But just bear in mind that when you're ready to take an exam, you've got to dip into your bank account for around £75 at a time. So by spreading the payments with your exams in there, it just makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah. And you also get access to Student Street. Now, Student Street is our peer-to-peer support group. And we post it on Facebook, which means that you can talk to other students, talk to tutors. There's over 3,500 members in there now, which is absolutely fantastic. And because it's on Facebook, there's no need to learn how to use a new app. Most people have got Facebook accounts, so you get an invite as soon as you
can't find the app.
Exactly.
Then you forgot your login details.
Exactly.
That's me.
And all of this, all of the study books, the videos, the tests, the mock exams, all of it worked together to deliver some absolutely fantastic pass rates. So we've got 92% pass rate at level 2 bookkeeping. That's based on 415 assessments. And at level 3, 91%. And that's based on 391 assessments. That was the those pass rates are based on all ICB assessments completed between the 1st of Jan and the end of October last year.
Just on that, on these subjects, I noticed there's a question that's popped up there about do we do exam pass guarantees? Well, in the real world, it can't be done because we can't guarantee anything that someone else does. But what we do is we give everyone absolute 100% exam preparation. Failing an exam isn't an option here. But having said that, and it will also be in terms and conditions for anyone who perhaps is offering, free exam resits and things like that. They look behind it at the terms and conditions, because you'll have had to follow quite strict instructions from a tutor. You'll have to done everything exactly as they said. Then they would consider giving you the paying part of your resit fee. So with those type of statistics, we really don't need to be putting ourselves in the position where, for the sake of selling a course, we've got to give you an exam pass guarantee that isn't actually real. So but what we are going to do is give you the absolute best chance and best opportunities. And if we were wrong with something and we didn't prepare you correctly, then we would pay for your exam receipt anyway, if we had to take responsibility.
So student feedback. Now, I'll just touch on this briefly. I think everybody these days is used to going on, review websites and seeing that almost every retailer or website or anyone has got 5-star profiles. But I think what I'd do is I'd encourage you to look at a profile on either FIFA or Trustpilot and look at the level of detail that tends to be in Training Link reviews, because we do not encourage reviews at the point of purchase, which is something that many companies these days do. And that allows them to kind of drown out negativity with very short, sharp, sweet 5-star reviews that say things like, 5 stars, products arrived quickly, person I dealt with on the phone was great. Okay, but that doesn't tell you anything about the nature of the product. It doesn't tell you anything about the course. So Training Link reviews tend to be much more detailed in talking about the course and the experience. Yeah. And hey, if there are 1-star reviews on there, take a look at those as well.
Yeah, sure.
Take a look at those and see how we've dealt with them and try to make a bad situation right.
At the end of the day, that's the type of review that we want people to see. It's pointless saying, oh yeah, the guy on the phone pointed me in the right direction, I signed up for the great course, and then you never hear anything more from them. We want people to be telling everyone else what that experience was like. How did you get on with the tutors? How did you get on with the materials? And just overall, that's a proper review. Then you wouldn't leave a review on a holiday before you've been. It's as simple as that. Yes, the person at TUI sold me this fantastic holiday. I haven't been yet, because actually the review I did for the holidays, it was dreadful. Yeah. So they don't ask the review at that point. We want the review after they've been to our hotel. It's as simple as that.
Exactly. So student success is another thing worth looking at on our website. We've got, I think, 27 case studies from students who've studied with us and they've launched their own practice, or in the case of Siobhan there, scored an ICB Student of the Year nomination. Now, Siobhan was great because when I was looking for the award, potential award submissions for that year, there was an email from Siobhan, I didn't realize it was her at the time, from a year or two prior, where she'd emailed us to say, you keep on putting out these wonderful case studies about people who've managed to study in absolute record time. Yeah. Does this mean, if I enroll, I won't get, I can't do it in that speed. Does this mean I won't get a chance to be put forward for Student of the Year? And she didn't study in record time, but she balanced it with, very busy work-life balance, did fantastically well. And we submitted her to the ICB Luca Awards, and she did get shortlisted for ICB Student of the Year. Right, I think now's a really good time, I think, to have a chat with one of our students. Neil, can you unmute yourself?
Yep. Hi there.
Hi, Neil. How are you
Neil.
today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Very good.
Good stuff. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what your background was, and what led you to looking at studying ICB in the first place.
Yeah, so I was previously a bank manager, and when my wife was ill, I couldn't keep doing that, so I took a redundancy package, and then now she's at a stage where I'm looking to get back to work. She's much better. I was trying to look at what I can do to fit around my commitments for her, and we've got children and family as well, and I've realised I don't really want to be in a fixed workplace anymore. So I'm a very analytical person. I thought bookkeeping. I kind of touched on it before. I did a business degree, but like 20 years ago. So I'd done a tiny bit of it, most of which I'd forgotten. But I remembered at the time that I enjoyed it, so I thought that was probably something I could pursue.
Okay. So when you were looking around, you're looking around for ICB courses and qualifications. How did you encounter Training Link? How did you find us? Do you remember?
Yeah, there's just a list of all the different training providers, and Training Link were top, and it said about the awards. So I clicked on it. I just read everything that I think there's about 3 that I looked at, but certainly Training Link 1 seemed to have the best reviews and seemed to explain everything the easiest. So actually because my analytical mind, I did do a bit of a cost-benefit analysis on all of them as well, which I seem to do most registers.
There you go. Yeah, when you pulled everything in, it is. Yeah,
and as well as good reviews, it did seem to provide the best value as well. So that's what I went with.
Okay. So when did you enroll with us?
October.
October.
Yeah. October.
How far along have you got now?
Sorry?
How far along have you got now?
Well, I've hopefully got, as long as I get the tech working properly, then I've hopefully got my final M8 exam tomorrow for level 3. So I started off doing level 2, and yeah, just went straight into level 3 with a 2-week break over Christmas, and yeah.
That was just October last year.
Yeah.
Wow, well done. Well done. Yeah. So it just shows that, would you agree with what I was saying about the fact that you just can get on with your studies? We're not holding you up. And if you have got a question, we answer it very quickly. And
I mean, that's one thing actually that I wanted to point out in your presentation. It didn't emphasize how late some of the tutors would work. So most of the time I had a fixed time, kind of late morning, but other times it would be late in the evening or whatever, and I'd still get replies at really late times, which was really, really helpful, because you don't want to be in the middle of something, have a problem, but not then have to wait for the next day to get an answer.
While you're in the mood for learning, it's like you want to carry on, don't you? And I think, to say what I was saying earlier on about going back to sending something by post and then waiting 5 or 6 days to find out you got it wrong. Could you imagine that today? No, absolutely. It would take you years, wouldn't it? And there you are. You're on the verge of completing your level 2 and 3 in 3 months, 4 months. It shows how doable it is by using this system.
Yeah, and I didn't really do that. I've read things about people doing quite a few hours every day. Mine was probably a maximum of 2 hours, and that wasn't even every day. Right. I mean, I'm quite fortunate that I've got probably quite an analytical brain, so I took it on fairly easily, but I still had problems. And yeah, I found it relatively easy with all the materials and everything.
I think M4 is the one that kind of slows people down a little bit, isn't it? Because we start to talk a little bit more technical at this point when we're making adjustments to the accounts. Because once you've got that,
I think actually for me it was A1 and A2 were actually the most challenging. Just trying to get into that. I mean, I'd not used my brain for a little while, so it was kind of trying to get it up to speed. And at the beginning, I was only doing about an hour a day before I realised my brain was slowing down. So A1, A2 really took time to kind of get my head around the whole concept. Once I kind of visualized things and got an idea of it, then yeah, level 3 I've actually found probably easier than level 2.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, the basic fundamentals, you see, isn't it?
But obviously everyone's brain is completely different, and that's just how it was for me. But it could be completely different for someone else. So,
So when so good luck for tomorrow for you.
Thanks.
But what are your plans long term?
So I want to be freelance. I want to. I've still got quite a lot of commitments, so it would be building things slowly. But I've got quite a few contacts that I can kind of draw on, and yeah, I want to be able to work from home and work with clients and yeah, see where that takes me. And then I possibly might open up other avenues in the future as well, working with business customers. It's certainly when I was in the bank, I used to deal with business customers a lot. I used to really enjoy it, and it might open up further avenues in the future.
Okay. Well, I think should we try and take some questions from the Q&A? I think that's probably a good.
I see quite an interesting one there. I don't know if I'll answer it by all means. Could have been one for Peter.
I think this is one for the panel, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So shall we? Are you guys, Amy and Peter? Are you unmuted? Because this one you might want to offer an opinion on this one. It's a question from Dave Critchley Morris, and he says, "Hi, can the panel give a view on the impact of making tax digital on the volume of work available to a self-employed bookkeeper? Do they feel it will lead to an increase or decrease in work available?"
ICB would say quite confidently it's going to lead to an increase in work for self-employed bookkeepers. Bookkeepers of all shapes and sizes. So making tax digital is also called MTD, and it is one part of this agenda to digitalize the tax system. It's being driven by HMRC, and what came before it is VAT. So where all VAT registered businesses are using software to file their VAT returns, and the next wave is making tax digital for ITSA, income tax self-assessment. And the really interesting thing about that is that it applies to the smallest sole traders and landlords as well. And it's some of those small clients that have the biggest challenges, and they're quite often not using good accounting software. And what we find is the bookkeeper is really best placed to help those kinds of clients. Bookkeepers understand those pain points. You're dealing with the real-time figures. You're helping with the wages, the cash flow, all of the really fun stuff that is that daily struggle for businesses. And one of the things our bookkeepers have always done is really adopt new technologies really rapidly. And because quite often they're working alone, like you are planning to, Neil, it means you can be more nimble and quicker to adapt to changes in this sort of digitalization agenda that's being set by the government. But yeah, it's hundreds, and I think it's 800,000 some odd businesses that are affected by the first wave of making tax digital for ITSA. So these are the businesses that are crying out for good quality qualified bookkeepers.
Okay. Does Peter want to add anything to that, or have we pretty much covered that?
In terms, the question was about the business for bookkeepers. So absolutely, fully. I was just going to do my higher vote. Of course, what it means for us is looking again at our qualification, because it's not just the tax qualification. It's something that will now fall within the M4, M5, M6, M7, because it requires quarterly returns. So our qualification will adapt to reflect the fact that this will be important work, and lots of it, for our bookkeepers.
Okay.
I can add a little more to that. Knowing quite a number of people who are sole traders, got small businesses, what have you, and completely against my advice, some of them like to do their own bookkeeping, but MTD scares them. So they're saying, no, this is like 4 returns I've now got to do, and all these complications and all these regulations on it. It's actually scaring them. So they are now going looking for a bookkeeper to sort it out for them. So my vote is most definitely yes. There will be an increase in demand for bookkeepers because it will pull some of these people in who weren't previously using bookkeepers. Yeah.
Also, actually, I was just going to say it is also something that is affecting accountants, and meaning that they are resting on good bookkeepers more and more. And whenever we go to events or do any kind of outreach, we hear a lot from accountants who say, I need more good bookkeepers because I cannot service the demand myself. I don't want to do the monthly support for businesses that they keep asking for. So it's just strengthening that relationship with accountants as well.
Yeah, I think there is a general perception that software will just do everything for you, but it's not the point at all, because you still, you still need to know what to put into that software for it to do the work. So you still got to gain all of this information prior to, and also be able to analyze some of that information to advise the client, because we're now making tax returns slightly in advance. And it's giving the HMRC a bit of an idea of how that business is performing. Well, this is again where a bookkeeper can come in, or an accountant, they can come into play and advise better on what we should be doing here. Even, sometimes as daft as it seems, holding back an invoice or something like that, because it starts there rather than it being 3 months later. So software can't make those decisions for you. You need this knowledge and understanding.
Okay, should we take another question? Hopefully this one reasonably short answer, I think, on this one. Hi, I have done level 2 AAT and then went on to do half of level 3 to reach AAT QB. Can I change over to ICB?
Question for Amy, I think.
Oh, is that a question for me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, is absolutely the answer. So our qualifications are very similar. ICB is as a body dedicated to bookkeepers. So our qualification actually goes a little bit further at levels 2 and 3. So there would be some additional learning to do. And that's because our qualification is absolutely designed for bookkeepers. Like Peter said, it's to make you workplace ready, whether you want to start your own business completely from scratch, or whether you want to work in a bigger organization. So there's some additional learning, but we would say absolutely there's a very clear path to doing that. I think we actually call it the fast track, and Training Link is one of the #1 providers we would recommend to work with to make that transition.
Another question, how long should it take to study level 2 and 3?
Oh, well, let's call it. I always talk about hours personally, because the way our system is pretty streamlined. We say, okay, level 3 should be somewhere around about 120 to 140 hours. So you just divide that by how many hours a week you can study, and that will be it, because there won't be any waiting time in between. So yeah, if you can do 10 hours a week, well, there you go. You've done it in 3 months. And that is the simple answer to it. I think it's kind of, we've got this fixation of schedules that you go to college. How long does it take to do level 3? Or you're going to be here for 9 months or 12 months or whatever it may be. With us, you actually have control of your learning. So the more hours you can put in, the faster you will become qualified.
Okay.
Can I just say something quickly? I don't know if we actually mentioned that all of ICB qualifications are available online on demand. So you can choose the day, the time that you take each exam, even that one that's invigilated, which
well, I was about to ask that question, because that's obviously come up on the Q&A, and I can see Peter's response to that one, which is that, can you take the exams when you're ready? Which, well, yes, you 100% you can. What else have we got? Can you do self-assessment tax return certificate at the same time as level 2 and 3?
No, you need to have completed level 3 before you. Well, you could study it if you wanted to. Probably wouldn't make an awful lot of sense.
I don't think it's recommended.
But you need to have done level 3 before you're eligible to actually take the exam for it. So no, you really do need to have all of this knowledge before you start looking at self-assessment tax returns. Otherwise, your client might not be very happy.
Here's a good one, actually, for either you, Amy, or Peter. What guidance does ICB give on how to set up a bookkeeping business? That's the bit I'm worried about.
Good question.
Well, we will be running a webinar on that you can attend around this time next month. So we do one of those every month. We haven't done one this month because we're doing this instead. So yeah, we like I say, we specialize in bookkeepers, and unlike some of the other bodies that are mainly focused on accountants or accounting technicians in the workplace, the majority of our members are actually self-employed bookkeepers. So it's a key part of our focus. And what I would say also is that we have a really, really supportive community that get together loads. We've got about 250 events taking place a year, some of them in person, some of them online. So you not only have the backing of a great training provider, an institute that is fully dedicated to you, but also a community of like-minded people on that same journey with you. So yeah, lots of support. And we've got a Starting Your Bookkeeping Business guide that we post out to you as well when you're ready to take that step.
Really good questions in there. There's loads of them. We're just not going to have time to answer them all live.
Yes. Yeah.
So we will return. You know, people have asked questions. We will get back to you. We will answer these questions for you.
Absolutely. Right, I'm just going to share my screen again because we've got some special offers, because of course we have. Right, so yeah, it already feels like it's been a lot longer than a month, doesn't it? For when we're talking about new year, new start, it feels like it was so long ago. But just a few days left of the month and a few days left for these special offers, and they are very good. Discount codes expire on the 29th. And you can save an extra £100 on any of our ICB self-employed packages. So there's quite a few packages that we've got. So take a look. You've got 2 and 3 and variations of the level 2 and 3, haven't you? Like 2 and 3 plus self-assessment tax returns, things like that. And one that's literally just called the ICB self-employed package.
You consider that anything that contains more than one level, so it's level 2 and 3 combined, we already discount that by 15% anyway. So if you were buying them individually, so you're getting the 15% plus that extra £100 off as well.
Yeah. So the code for that is New Start 100. Save an extra £150 on our ICB Ultimate package, and that's literally everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's every single ICB course and ICB level 4 unit. And yeah, save an extra 150 on that with the code New Start 150. And if you're just after an individual ICB level or the level 4 diploma package, you can save an extra £50 on that with the code. Come on, you must be able to guess what this one is.
No.
New Start 50. So yes, you've got until the 29th of January. So that's Sunday, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Actually, I might say if you didn't manage to guess that, then don't be a bookkeeper.
That's true. But yeah, all of those are listed on our website. So you go to training-link.co.uk/special-offers, and it's linked to on almost every single page anyway. So you won't be able to miss it. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps us up here, doesn't it?
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
For everyone who's participated today.
Yep. Thank you very much, Amy. Thanks very much, Peter. And thank you very much, Neil. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on today. And I'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure. And thanks for everyone who's attended today. It's much appreciated. If you've got any further questions,
pick up the phone,
email us, carrier pigeon, smoke signals. We'll find a way of answering.
Okay. Fantastic. And good luck. Good luck, everybody, on your journey. And good luck, Neil, tomorrow in that exam.
Absolutely. We're looking out for you.
Yeah, watching out for that one. Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye bye.